contract is unacceptable and should not be happening at that level. And he questions truly if it was an administrative error.
I think the chairman said a lot of talking points that his consultants gave him. I think that let's be clear on a number of fronts. The administrative error in which he referred to, I think he's confused. What the administration is saying is the publishing of the error of the contracts following the Prime Minister's decision is the error, not the preliminary steps. It should have not been published in the document because the Prime Minister made a determination to put the contract on pause. And
you're saying
the printing is the error.
Right. But you all weren't clear.
That was the error.
Right. So you weren't clear because you were saying before it even was printed or published, the Prime Minister already decided to shelve that for a moment until whatever.
I know that's very difficult, but let me be extremely clear.
So then who made the choice to go and print it, to have it published?
The government have its internal communication challenges, right? But let me be clear. The chairman of the FNM, who had the opportunity to serve in the cabinet, both as the Minister of Health, this was his words, not mine, that because of his relationship with the Prime Minister, then Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, he believed that the Ministry of Health and the health sector in this country did not get the attention it needed. That means that the entire country suffered because of the strained relationship that both him and the former Prime Minister have. Now, my job as Director of Communication don't allow me to go some areas, right? But there is a public fact that the then Minister of Health had himself to be questioned about his involvement around granting a contract to a witness in a very high-profile matter. Now, none of that, then the public don't benefit from me revisiting old political facts. What the public do want to hear, they want to hear that this week, the Moody's rating agency.
Well, before we go there, because you kind of all over, because I have that, or I want you to.
I just want to make sure that he understands that there's no credibility, that the FNM have no credibility on some topics.
Well, you brought that up, and you're right. He mentioned that nothing was done because of the relationship when he was in cabinet with the former Prime Minister. But let's just talk about. Is there an ambulance shortage? What is the story? What's happening?
I mean, we've discussed this matter on numerous occasions, right? Last year, the minister was aware because he criticized the ambulance that was purchased. There was a number of ambulances that was purchased. The Chinese ambulance or something. The number of ambulances purchased. The minister knows that there's a procurement challenge. He was minister before. What I want to know, where's the ambulance that was donated during Hurricane Dorian? I mean, we could go there if you want to go there. But I think if we're
how many ambulances are working in Nassau tonight?
I am not in a position to accurately answer that. I don't get in the habit of making statements that I cannot verify. But I want to be able to say that he is acutely aware of the restraints and challenges and the fact that in the procurement area, that multiple countries are seeking to procure the exact same ambulance. Now, if you're going to have an argument, at least start from the basis that you're going to be factual and not disingenuous about the challenges that they're facing.
No, well, I'll give you that point because, in fact, thank you to the viewer who said, who nudged me during the break and say, Shanique, listen, the Ministry of Health, the Department of Health, Public Health, just the public health care system has been challenged for decades. It's nothing new. These issues have been lingering for decades.
And if you allow, I know you want to get some stuff about the government, right? You know, it was shocking listening to the chairman of the FNM for 30 minutes. He said nothing that his party would do differently. He offered no sound vision.
Didn't he say?
Not the sound bite. I offered no sound bite.
He said now they can travel less, they can redirect the money, and they can they can move VAT off.
By the time we were in opposition, we had 1 year out. We had an economic plan. That same economic plan, 3 years into this administration, we're seeing the fruits, right? Now, I can give them this credit that they have to deal with their internal fighting, but if you are a Bahamian listening tonight, and you're listening to the chairman of the FNM, the number 2 in the FNM, you heard nothing about.
So you're saying
the
he was
same
scattered.
same old. I mean, it's opposition. But what people want, 30 minutes in, you could spend about 10 minutes in it, but 20 minutes. You want to have vision
Actually,
and a difference.
that was not 30 minutes. He got 23 minutes.
No, I was watching my watch.
The show started late.
Okay.
The show started late.
My apologies.
I timed the two of y'all.
My apologies.
Listen to me, y'all.
But
I know the season. I timed the two of them well.
But I know that if you are home tonight and the person who is trying to be the government, what you want to hear from them is what you will do differently. And your vision.
So you're saying, let me ask you about what he said. Many things that he put forward. You were saying that you see an FNM whose chairman appeared before you, who came here with no real substance, particularly when it comes to plans on how they would move things forward.
Same FNM, unchanged. Same players, same characters, same circus, unchanged. They would not. I mean, the best solution we got to BPL is the reestablishment of a hedge fund. That's the best solution we got to it. That's the closest the chairman came to a viable solution.
Well, let's talk, Latrae, about the fact that because people want to know, forget the chairman in this instance for a moment. People want to know, is the someone who went ahead and printed some information that again caused this administration to appear as though there's some issues going on within the office of the Prime Minister. Is there an investigation to find out who making these decisions above anybody else's head?
First of all, there are preliminary steps. Now, obviously, by the time the matter got to the Prime Minister, he reviewed the document at hand, and he made a decision to put it on hold. Right? We could litigate the internal communications of governments, and we could exhaust the issue on direct communication. I know sometimes that is not perfect, and we're not too big to admit when we got something wrong, even at that low level. I mean, we're not too big to admit that. But what we are saying is that the administrative error is on the printing of the document, not the decision in itself. So that let's just bring clarity to that.
Because as you said, the decision was already stayed and put on hold.
And what is controversial about the Prime Minister stopping a matter?
Well, there's nothing controversial about that.
What is controversial about that?
No, it's nothing. Nothing. In fact, it's good that he's going to say, wait a minute, how does Scott here? No, that's good that he is questioning. It's just that whoever that is, just the same way that lady gone and signed something, whoever that is who gone and make the Prime Minister have to be in the hot seat tonight, then that person ought to obviously be held accountable. Latrae, let's talk about the Moody's ratings. The most recent rating, a number of financial analysts says it sort of positions the country to be able to now do some stuff to get a better rating in half a year to a year's time. How significant is that rating that sort of says, hey, carry on? I
think the Prime Minister, it's a vindication of the Prime Minister's effort to manage the economy. Obviously, the key focus now is we are entering a time of the stability challenges because of global pressures and external shocks. So we are proud that for the first time in more than 20 years, the country has a positive perspective by the Moody's. But the Prime Minister is not going to sit around and pat himself on the back. He's happy with the progress the country is making. He's acutely aware of the challenges that Bahamian families face. He's focused on energy reform. He understands how critical that is. We're happy that with the appointment of the new Commissioner of Police, that's bringing a level of stability and repairing trust in our institutions. So he's focused. And an unfocused Prime Minister cannot deliver on the kind of economic recovery.
What are you saying?
He said that the Prime Minister was unfocused.
I
know what an unfocused Prime Minister look at. That's the same one who they denied a nomination to. That's unfocused. And I know what an unfocused Minister of Health looked like, because if he was focused, he would have delivered on the things that he alleges that minister didn't allow him to do. So we know what unfocused looked like, but we know what focus looked like. Focus looked like economic growth, the lowest unemployment from 2008, increasing the minimum wage, the highest number of tourist arrivals. That's focus. And no matter how the FNM try to remix history, the statistics and the facts will never change. And it ain't us saying it, It's the persons who have the job to look at governments around the world and say, and agencies and companies say that, we're satisfied with the trajectory.
Well, let's
the
talk
government is
about
on.
9 days in. VAT was reduced in food stores from 10% to 5%. What are people saying on the ground that you were hearing that, listen, because the Prime Minister did say, hey, listen, hi, y'all, you re-elect me, this could even go lower, if not non-existent.
So let me
Okay,
just
yeah, so what do you mean by
provide clarity in that.
Okay,
The Prime
let's
Minister
hear it.
never said that commentary. Obviously, I had a long conversation with the editor of the Tribune, that they decided to create a headline that gave the impression that the Prime Minister said, if you vote for me, this will continue. He never said that. He said, because of the efforts of the government and the support of the Bahamian people, the government has been able to reduce the VAT to where it is today. We had a back and forth with the Tribune. The headline was not a correct description of it. I think that, yes, the 5% is assistance to Bahamian families. Of course, any dollar saved is better for families, but the government obviously know that it has to go additional measures. And I think one of the most vexing problems that we are focused on correcting is the issue of energy.
Yes, let's talk about energy. A lot has been said about that. Where does it stand? Where does the whole pike, the various, I guess, subsidiaries of that, then this new deal, energy deal that was signed yesterday, what does it mean? And when are we going to be able to sort of see even more tangible benefits?
So I think, the executive of Pike spoke to the press this week or last part of last week, indicated his enthusiasm for the project, that is going ahead. That's going to result in tremendous progress around the transmission and distribution. What we saw today was Bahamian companies being awarded contracts for microgrids and solar grids, so now the government is making an effort towards diversifying its energy mix. You have LNG on one end, you can have solar on the other end. So we're reducing our dependency on oil, or crude oil, right? Now, you see the difference. I'm able to sit here and give tangible examples of what the government's doing.
So you have receipts for what it is this administration has done.
We're doing what
not reaching out pie in the sky.
We're doing what the FNM attempted to do. We've fixed the economy, restored the economy, we're pivoting to energy reform, right? And I think that is going to be where the true argument is. Do you want to hand this progress over to a group of individuals who are not ready for prime time? I shouldn't even be talking about this as direct communication. My apologies.
So you could tell me, Shanique, no, I won't answer this or not, but because we're going to get to the fact that, this is the election. We know it, the election season. Two of on your team, about the PLP's team, have stated they don't intend to offer again. When will the governing party have its official launch to officially get the wheels moving?
So I'm not as intimately involved on the political side of things. Obviously, two members of the government has indicated that their desire not to go ahead for personal reasons. Most certainly, I think the chairman of the PLP has indicated that the party is readying itself. But it's easy to be distracted by preparing for the election. We still have to govern. We still have to deliver on critical things for Bahamians. And as much as Bahamians like to go to the polls to vote, they want to see the government focusing on issues that matter the most to them.
What is the government focus? I mean, people say about a year and a half away from an election. What are some of the more pressing things that this administration know it must get done, tackle, or show the Bahamian people that at least they're paying attention to before we get really in the meat of things?
I think we have to maintain a positive trajectory on the economy. Obviously, we have to be able to balance that against the external shocks that we are currently faced with. We have to be able to deal confidently with the issue of cost of living. Be able to finalize.
Do you think you're doing a good job with that? And with that alone, just cost of living?
I think we've made tremendous strides. I think there's always room for progress. I think a key part of that is energy. If you could reduce the cost of energy to families, that's going to be a critical component to group. One of the reasons why the Modis has given the Bahamas a positive outlook is simply and primarily because they are encouraged by the government's taking on the issue of energy. That gives them confidence that businesses are able to invest, that they don't have to worry about the huge overcost of the cost of energy. I hope I didn't hit on Duane too hard, you know.
No, but no, you don't. You see how Duane came here and came out with boxing gloves on. No, you didn't hit. I know that as communications director, you don't necessarily get into the politics of things, but I have to ask you about this. This is I've heard it around, floating about there. I don't know if you are aware, but I teased it at the top of tonight's show. Are you interested in pursuing further political, I guess, gaining further wings in the PLP in terms of the chairman position?
I think I'll let the political pundits be political pundits and speculate. I'm not going to add any more errors or rumors around the Prime Minister. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve as Director of Communication from 27 years old. I don't think that the Bahamian people, when they see me on Shanique's shows, have a particular interest in my political ambitions. They want to know what the government is doing in their name. And I intend to do that. And I'm not going to conflate that. And there is a chairman in the PLP. He has my respect and my confidence. And so right now, my focus is to be the best I can as Director of Communication and serve to making my bosses, ultimately the Prime Minister, pleased in the work I do.
Latrae Rahming, I thank you very much. 22 minutes, Latrae, 22 minutes that you had this evening. I thank you very, very much. I wish I remember every single thing that Duane Sands said so that I can give you an opportunity to respond. But you both know exactly where I'm located. You know my address.
Yes.
And so certainly you're always welcome back here. I thank you very much for being here, addressing some things, because people really had some questions.